I don't want to do that again.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new then hi, welcome, it's lovely to meet you. I am a mum of two. We have Nevaeh, who is 2 years old, and we've now got Leo, who will be 1 in 2 months. I was actually asked by one of my Instagram followers to do a video on like a birth story, and that's not something that I'd actually ever thought about. I just hadn't thought about it. So the second I saw that, I thought that is actually a really good idea. I would love to do that. So here I am, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do each child's sort of story separately. So I'm going to do Nevaeh's today, and then I'm going to do Leo's separately. With Nevaeh, I thought I had footage of her actually being born. I don't, I seem to not have that, but I have photos of her sort of coming into the world, so I'm going to include that. I'm going to blur out my private parts, but I'm going to include that, and I have actually got footage of after she was born, so the first sort of moment I held her, the first moment where I actually held her, and to me it's just so special. So I'm going to include that at the end of this video. And with Leo, I do actually have footage of him physically being born. So with his, I will include a moment where you can see his head coming out, and the moment that he's born into this world. So I'm going to include that video. I've already blurred out my private parts, so you won't see any of that because you don't want to see that, I don't want you to see that, so yeah. I just thought that I'd make this video a little bit special, so I'll include that footage and then photos at the end of this video, so make sure to watch it all to see that. Yes, let's get on with the video. So with our first child, Nevaeh, I had high blood pressure, I would say sort of middle to the end of the pregnancy, so I had to be on medication. It began with ranitidine? It's something like that, but I had to have this tablet every single day because I had high blood pressure. I remember going to my midwife appointment. I remember this like it was yesterday. Like, how was this 2 years ago? Nevaeh was 2, literally a few weeks ago. On the 10th of April, she was 2. But yeah, I remember this day. I'd already taken a picture of my bump. I took so many pictures of my bump when I was pregnant both times. I have loads of pictures, but I'm really glad that I do, because to me it's just so special to have these pictures of your child inside your belly. You are growing a human, you've got a baby inside your belly. Like, that's amazing, and I love bumps so much. I will add the photo of my last bump picture that I took. I've got a photo from the morning before I went to the appointment, and then I've got a photo of me in my 90 at the hospital, so I will include that somewhere while I'm talking. I don't know, I'll try and include it somewhere. Anyways, I was almost 40 weeks pregnant. I went for my midwife appointment. They did the usual checks, and my blood pressure was quite high. Now, they were worried about that. I said to them, I'm not surprised that it's high, because we had just lost my nanny, I would say a couple of weeks before. She'd been poorly for quite a while, and she tried to hold on, bless her. She tried her best to hold on for like when Nevaeh was born. That's what we think anyway. She tried, but she couldn't, so she passed away. Emotional. She passed away a couple of weeks before Nevaeh was born. So I said to them, I'm not surprised, and I explained it to them. I had a little cry, and they were so lovely. The midwives, all the midwives, apart from one, but I won't get into that, but all the midwives apart from that person was absolutely lovely. So I had a chat with her, had a little cry, and just explained that that's probably the reason why my blood pressure is on the high side, because obviously we're going through a very difficult time. I'm pretty sure I was booked in for a sweep appointment the week after. I can't remember, I think so. I remember being all worried about, after all this happened, which I'll talk about in a minute, I was worried about cancelling the appointment, so I'm pretty sure the week after I had a sweep booked. Going back to the picture of my bump, both pregnancies, I got to the point where I was thinking, I've had enough, I just want this baby out, I just get this baby out of me, because the bump, your belly can hurt, can't it, and it gets in the way. But both times after they've been born, I missed my bump. Obviously you've got this wonderful baby, you've finally got your baby here and you can hold them, and it's lovely and amazing, but at the same time you've got used to holding your bump and stroking it and feeling the kicks and the movement in your belly. So both times I really did miss my bump afterwards. But yeah, I'm really glad I got all the photos that I do, and it's really nice to look at them and think, you think to yourself, oh my god, I was huge. Like, your belly can get so big. But anyway, the midwives were lovely. I say midwives because there was the midwife and then there was a trainee midwife in the appointment, but they were so nice. But they decided that because I was so close to my due date, like literally like 3 days away, and they were worried about my blood pressure, they decided to send me up the hospital. Now, I remember the moment they told me that they were going to send me up the hospital, I just cried. I was a bit of a mess. I remember phoning James and I rang him and said, they're sending me up the hospital, you need to leave work, you need to leave. And I couldn't get my words out. I was crying, I was upset, and I couldn't get my words out. So I hadn't told him the reason. All I said to him was, the midwife is sending me up hospital, you need to leave work. I remember afterwards he said to me that he spoke to his boss, and his boss said, is everything okay? What's happening? James said, I don't know. She just told me I need to leave, and she's going up hospital. So I should have told him more, but I just couldn't get my words out. But yeah, the midwife said there's not a time specifically to get up the hospital by, just sort of get your things together, get sorted, and get there when you can. So I went to the car in the car park and I phoned my mum straight away. Again, had a cry on the phone to my mum. I was a bit of a mess because obviously you're pregnant, your hormones. I was really excited and happy and also very nervous and very scared. I was full of mixed emotions, and obviously my nan had just passed away, so I had the emotions from that as well. So I just literally, I couldn't hold myself together. So I had a cry on the phone to my mum, phoned my mum and dad, and then I drove home. Now, because I made these phone calls, James worked about half an hour away from where we lived. So by the time I got home, I was only there for about 5 minutes before James turned up. I then obviously told him the reason we were going to hospital is because of my high blood pressure and they want to get me induced. They want to induce me and it's time to have our baby. So he obviously gave me a hug and that, and then he got bits together. He phoned his mum because we have a dog called Ellie, so she was going to be looking after Ellie for us. I think the time was about 3:30 in the afternoon when James got home and I got home from the doctors, about 3:30 in the afternoon. We got the hospital bag, which had already been packed, and we got food, we got drinks, we got everything that we thought we would need, and we got Ellie, we got in the car, we went to drop Ellie off at his mum's, which is only about 10 minutes around the corner from the hospital, and yeah, she gave me a hug and wished me luck in that, and we dropped Ellie off and went to the hospital, and I think we got there probably around 4:30. So we went into the hospital, went where we needed to go. We had to wait in this little room for about 20 minutes, I'd say. There was another couple in there waiting. I had to do a wee sample. And yeah, we waited for about 20 minutes, I guess, and then we got called through. So we went into another room where there was this really nice lady, and she sort of strapped me onto the monitor that goes around your belly, and they monitor the baby's kicks. There was a little button I had to press every time I felt a movement. But yeah, I did that for a little while. I would say maybe half an hour I was strapped to that machine, and then they came back and told me they were going to try and break my waters, and that was so easy. They actually said that, because they broke straight away, my waters broke straight away. They said if they hadn't have broke my waters, then it would have happened naturally very soon. They broke my waters, this must have been about 5:30, and then you had to wait 2 hours to see if the contractions started on their own or not. So I was transferred to a delivery room to get all comfy in that and just wait, basically. Midwife came and introduced herself. She had a trainee with her. Her name was Hannah, actually. I remember them both. I remember her name being Hannah because obviously same name as me, and they were both so nice. I literally couldn't have wished for better, nicer, more lovely midwives. They were super. I loved them. So yeah, we had to wait a while to see if the contractions started on their own. You had to wait 2 hours. Actually let me wait a little bit longer than the 2 hours. They let me wait longer than usual because I really wanted to have a water birth. That was always my plan, to have a water birth. I'm just so relaxed in water, and that was my dream, to have a water birth. So if the contractions don't start on their own, you have to go on the hormone drip. Now, if you don't if you go on the hormone drip, you can't have a water birth. So I explained how I really wanted this water birth. So they let me wait a little bit longer. I remember my body was absolutely shaking and I felt like I was weeing myself all the time. I've always thought that when your water breaks, it's just like a big gush and then it's over. But it's not. You feel like you're weeing all the time. It just constantly keeps coming and the midwife told me that that'll be like that until the baby's born. So I was shaking, I felt like I was weeing myself. I came and put my cannula in. They had a right old job getting that in. They always do. Always struggle with blood tests, putting cannulas in, anything like that. They always struggle. So they struggled with that. I'm not good with needles as it is. I used to faint all the time. I used to pass out. I don't anymore, but I did go all hot and dizzy. And so yeah, they did that. I then had some food. If you have the hormone drip, you then can't have anything to eat or drink. You can only have sips of plain water. And I'd bought all this food. I'd bought Kit Kats, I'd bought Lucozade, I'd bought penguin bars, cookies. I had bought the lot. So they made me a sandwich. I had a few penguin bars and some drink. And yeah, I made the most of it, knowing that if I have this hormone drip, I can't eat. So I ate. Put my stockings on, the stockings you've got to wear when you're in hospital and going to give birth. They are sexy stockings, aren't they? If you've given birth, then you know what I'm on about, the stockings. So I put them on. Eventually they said, because things aren't progressing, that they think that I need the hormone drip. A doctor came to see me and introduced himself and we had a chat and it was agreed that they would start the hormone drip. It was 9 o'clock in the evening that they put the drip in me. They connected it to the cannula and yeah, they said it can take hours to work. They start you on a low dose and then they higher it, but because they start on a low dose, it can take hours for it to actually work. Now, I wanted my parents with me when I delivered my baby. Although James was already my birthing partner, the midwives had agreed that my parents could be there. And I remember Mum saying, no, none of us knew when to tell my mum to come, because obviously it can take absolute hours, can't it? And she said, just let me know when you want me there, when you need me there, I'll be there. And I was messaging her through all of this, but at almost 10 o'clock, nothing was happening. I had no pain. There was no change. It was 10:30 when my contractions actually started. I think Mum left about 10:40. By the time she got herself in the car and that, it was about 20 to 11 when she actually left. They had to give me tablets for my blood pressure, and they said because they were giving me that, then Nevaeh, our baby, would have to be monitored for 24 hours afterwards to check her blood sugars, which was fine. They asked me what pain relief I wanted. I said I only wanted gas and air. I always knew from the beginning that I wanted a water birth and I wanted just gas and air, and there was no way at all that I was going to be having an epidural. I think it was the whole needle thing, and I just, no, not have an epidural. I just want gas and air and the water. Then at 11 o'clock, things started to really progress. It got very intense. My contractions were very strong and they were getting very close together very quickly. Now, I remember it had already been decided that Mum was going to stop off at McDonald's to get James a burger because he was hungry. I'm in labour, but he's hungry. He wants a McDonald's. So yeah, Mum was going to stop off and get him a burger. And I remember messaging her saying, you haven't got time. You need to get here now. There's no time. Do not stop. Just get here now. I remember her saying, oh my God, hold on, we're on our way. I remember messaging her saying, I feel like I need a big fat poo, I need to push. Yeah, she got to the hospital about 11:15. Because of the gas and air, I don't actually remember all that much. After this point, the gas and air made me feel really sick and dizzy. I remember they gave me a sick bowl. I wasn't physically sick, but I remember heaving. The gas and air did not agree with me at all. It helped the pain, but it made me feel awful. It made me feel really out of it, like I was drunk, like I'd had some drinks, I was tipsy. It just made me really out of it. So it's all a bit of a blur. after this point. I know Mum got there about 11:15 and literally just in time for me to start pushing was when she turned up. She turned up, I started pushing, and I pushed for 45 minutes, and I remember getting to the shoulders, and when you get to the shoulders they tell you to stop pushing. You just have to stop. You have to breathe and just don't push, and that is incredibly hard. That's impossible when you know you're almost there and you can feel that it's not going to take much more to get your baby out, and you have this intense feeling of needing to push, and they tell you don't push. That is hard. But yeah, eventually they said, right, push, you can push now. So I did, and didn't take much, and she was born. Nevaeh was born on the 10th of April at 31 minutes past midnight, weighing £7 and 10 ounce. She was absolutely perfect. I'm getting emotional. Oh no. But yeah, it is such a relief when that feeling of you've pushed your baby out. You can feel the baby's out, you've done it, your baby is here finally after 9 months of carrying your baby. She or he is here, and then when you hear that first cry, it's such a relief because you know they're okay, and it's a magical feeling. I had to have a couple of stitches afterwards. I am pretty sure they got me to feed Nevaeh while they done it, and I know that I struggled feeding her originally. I just couldn't get the angle right. I weren't in the right position. Probably had something to do with the fact that my legs were up in the air and they were trying to stitch me up while I was trying to feed her for the first time. But I know they got me to hand pump some out so they could put it in a syringe and feed her, and I remember they were really impressed with how much milk I managed to get out. They said that was brilliant, it was amazing, but like I said, it's all a bit of a blur after that because of the gas and air. I remember my body was absolutely shaking like mad. Like I was shaking like a leaf. The midwife said that was normal, that was your hormones, your body's sort of like in shock because of what you just gone through, and that it was normal, but I was shaking like anything. My mum was trying to feed me Kit Kats, saying eat a Kit Kat, eat a Kit Kat, telling me to get my sugars and my energy back up. I think I had a bit of Lucozade, but I felt too sick to eat at that point. Eventually I did eat, but at that point I was like, no, I can't eat. I had a wee afterwards, and I will never, ever forget how much that stung. That really did sting. But yeah, they leave you for a bit, and then, well, they don't completely leave you, they stay sort of in and out of the room to just check on you, make sure you're okay. Then they transfer you to another ward where you go when you've had your baby. They check you, they make you a cup of tea, see if you need any tablets, they let you have a sleep if you can, if your baby lets you. They wanted me to have injections because I'd had preeclampsia, and I think it was more to do with the fact that I was having to stay in hospital for 24 hours so they could monitor Nevaeh because the blood pressure tablets I had. So because of that reason, they wanted me to have injections in my stomach, and I'd have to take some home with me for 10 days. I had to have these injections for. They said it's not like necessary, you don't have to do it, but they recommended it. I know originally I said no because me and needles, I was just too scared, but I had a chat with my mum and she convinced me to. She said it's a good idea and it's going to be sort of small and quick, it can be over with in seconds. So she convinced me to have these injections. I remember I hated them so much. They stung like anything. I had to get James to do it for me because no way could I inject my stomach. That just weren't happening. I remember I was a white chicken. I was just like, when he would go to inject my stomach, I was like, no, wait. And it took forever to get an injection into me. But yeah, I had them. It's to sort of prevent blood clots because obviously you have to stay in hospital and laying down and all that. So it's to prevent blood clots. They kept checking on Nevaeh and doing her checks. They had to keep pricking her feet, and they did her hearing check and all that. I know James's parents came to visit when it was visiting hours, so they had a cuddle. They brought me a Costa coffee. We were told that we could go home after 24 hours of Nevaeh being monitored. We could go home, but that wouldn't be until sort of midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning. We could either go home then, or we could stay the night and go home in the morning. At that point, we weren't sure what to do because we didn't know what was best. We obviously wanted to go home because nothing beats, you can't beat your own bed, can you? We wanted to get home. It's not nice staying in the hospital. It's noisy. You can't rest properly. Not that you can rest with a newborn baby, but you know, it's nicer at home, isn't it? So we weren't sure at that point what to do. But in the end, when they said that we could go home, me and James looked at each other and said, yeah, let's go. So we got home about 1:15 in the morning. Yeah, obviously we then got settled at home, and then you have a midwife come the next morning and you get all your visits and all that by your health visitor, your midwives, daily appointments. But yeah, that is my labour and delivery story. I am going to do another one on Leo's story. Leo's story is quite different to Nevaeh's, but I've already been talking for half an hour now. So if I do Leo's in the same video, that's going to be really long, so I will do it separately so I'm not boring you to death. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I will leave clips in a minute once I've finished chatting to you. I will leave clips of when I held Nevaeh for the first time and some photos of when she's actually being born into the world. I'm assuming if you are watching this then you are pregnant, or maybe you're not, but if you are, then a huge congratulations, and I wish you all the best luck in the world. I'm sending all my love and luck to you for your own labour and delivery, and I just want to say you've got this. You've got this, Mama. You can do it. I promise you. It's such an amazing, painful, yeah, but amazing, wonderful experience, and it's something that you will never ever forget. So yeah, I wish you all the luck with that, and just want to say thank you to the person that recommended for me to do this video, because as I said, it's not something that I had thought about doing. So thank you, because I've actually really enjoyed doing this. When I watched the footage of Nevaeh when I held her and when Leo was born, I have had a cry. It's been a bit emotional for me, and to be completely honest, it's made me feel really broody. We're not having another child, but it's literally made me feel really broody, seeing them as little tiny newborns, and just they look so different when they're babies. And also just enjoy every single minute with your baby, because time goes so quick. I do not understand how it's been 2 years since Nevaeh was born and almost a year since Leo was born. I do not understand where the time's gone, and it makes my heart hurt because they're growing up. So yeah, just enjoy every single minute, because you'll be in your own little bubble, and it's such an amazing bubble and it doesn't last forever. So just enjoy it, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, then I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a big thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, then why not do that now? Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button so you're notified when I upload my next video, which will probably be Leo's story. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!
There we go.
Your nanny was so proud of you.
When did it stop hurting?
You've done amazing. You honestly did. I'm so proud of you. We're all so proud of you. So proud of all
Oh,
of you.
I didn't want to scream and shout. So I kept hearing all them other ladies like, no, not going to do that.
You weren't too bad. No, you weren't didn't scream that much. You've done amazing.
And he's like an ice pack.
No.
You could have a nice bath later tomorrow.
There was a bath in the other one, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other one, yeah. Can have a shower.
Oh,
Oh, look at that lip curl. Oh.
no. That's better. Well, both of us were right. I said the 9th. Everything started on the 9th. And you said the 10th, and it's the 10th now.
Born on the 10th, so I was right.
Yeah, but I thought that everything happened.
Yeah, but we
on
weren't
the
on
9th.
about that. We were on about when she'll get here.
Both right. Weren't we, little one? We're both right. Good girl.
Oh, she's beautiful.
I haven't seen you properly, have I? All I can see is a forehead and a nose. But you are beautiful, aren't you? You are. I've done it.
You've done
I don't want to do that again.
it. You've done amazing. Oh, it's a beautiful girl. That's beautiful.
See your little fingernails,
Yeah,
right?
you're beautiful little girl.